VLW back with another video. Today I'm going to do my full review for the Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV. Now, I think I was supposed to do the review for this last weekend, but I don't know, just wasn't up to it. So, I had time today, so I figured I'd do it today. Now, let me just say this up front. I really do like this device. I really do. It's a little narrow for me, the narrowest device that I have. But I do like this device. I really do. But I'm going to tell you the things that I do like and the things that I don't like. And then I'm going to get right out of your way. Now, the first thing I did like is the price. Because the price, I think it was like, what was it? $689 for 12 gigs, 512, brand new. And keep in mind, this was $1,600 when it was released. Now, was this device worth $1,600? Absolutely not. No way. No way. You got to give me everything, and including the kitchen sink, for $1,600. This is definitely not worth $1,600. It's a great device. Maybe $1,000, maybe. I say at least $1,000, $1,200, but $1,600? No way, no how. All right. Now, the first thing I like about this device is the build quality. You have this frosted back. You have these flat sides. I mean, this thing is very easy to hold, and you're gonna love the way it feels in your hand. It feels like top quality. And this is definitely a flagship device. No mistaking about that. I like the weight to it. It's not heavy, but it's not super light. It's not light and thin like they're starting to make a lot of these phones. And I don't like thin, light phones. I like the phones that have a little bit of heft to it. But with these flat sides, you got a flat display on the front. It feels nice. The build quality on this is really nice. And you got that Gorilla Glass Victus on the front and the back. No scratches, no micro scratches, nothing. All right. Next, I like the fact that you do have an always on display, even though it's not all that customizable. But I like that it's here. And I definitely don't like, how small these notifications are and they're all white. Don't like that. But I do like the fact that it does have always on display. Next, you got the LED notification sensor, as you can see right there, which, most devices do not have these days. Don't exist. The only phones you may get that on is maybe a gaming phone, but that's about it. Because, with most phones, when you turn on the display, there's no bezel at the top. So you're not going to get an LED notification sensor. But I like the fact that this one actually has one, because you do have a little bit of bezel up there. So that makes room for that, that notification LED sensor. So I definitely like that. Next, the biometrics. Now, the side-mounted fingerprint sensor, like I said, it's not my favorite, but it works extremely well. Sometimes I just misplace my finger because I just prefer in-display fingerprint sensors. But I mean, it works really, really well. I mean, it's just literally a light tap and it comes right on, as you can see. So the side-mounted fingerprint sensor is great. I really like it. Next, 12 gigs of RAM. The RAM management on here has been really good. Now, is this phone good for gaming? I'm going to say no, only because this phone will heat up on you. It definitely will heat up on you, no question about that. So I'm going to tell you right now, this phone is not for gaming. I don't game. So I'm just letting y'all know, for those of you that always ask about gaming, I'm not a gamer, but this is not the phone for that. Okay. This is not the phone for that. All right. Next, tell you about a thing I like on this device. The fact that this device came with 512 gigs of storage. I like that a lot, because that gives you a lot of storage to work with. And for me, I want a lot of storage because I store a lot of movies on my devices. Let me just show you what I mean. Now look at this, if you can see it. These are all movies or seasons or something. and that's because of the micro SD card slot. But on top of that, 512 gigs of internal storage. So I got a terabyte SD card in here plus 512 gigs, 512 gigs of internal storage. So that's awesome. I love that. So the fact that this has 512 gigs of internal storage is a win for me. Next, the dual stereo front firing speakers with Dolby Atmos and Snapdragon sound. They sound great on here, honestly. Now, my speaker that I'm using for my voice ain't going to do these speakers no justice, so I'm not going to even waste my time. But let me just tell y'all something right now. These speakers have blown me away, honestly. Now, I'm not saying they're better than, my OnePlus 12 or, a phone like that, but these speakers definitely hold their own and they're front firing. So when you turn it over like this and you're listening, watching content, this, the sound is coming directly at you. And it's good because they have it in a small slot up here and they have it on a small slit down here at the bottom. And I think all flagship phones should have front firing speakers. If you could have a speaker in the earpiece, you can have a speaker at the bottom of the device. I just really wish they would do that. But these speakers are really, really good. They surprised me, honestly. They sound really, really good. Next, you get that headphone jack. Now, let me say this honestly, and I'm just being honest. The sound could be a lot better when it comes to this headphone jack. That 24-bit high res is just not all that. It's just average. Like Samsung's 32 DAC sounds a lot better. So it's okay. But I do love the fact that you got that headphone jack because that's also something you do not get on flagship devices. I don't understand why they removed it. I really don't. There's really no reason for it. But except, they wanted to force people to buy their earbuds. That's the only thing I can think of. All right. So love that headphone jack. Next, expandable storage up to 1 terabyte. Like I just said, got that SD card in here, 1 terabyte, along with the 512 gigs of internal storage. And I'm absolutely loving it. All right. Next, this has wireless charging. Now, it's not fast wireless charging. I think it's maybe about 15 watts, but I want wireless charging. That's something that I want. That's something that I use every single day. Okay. I just put it right on there and I go to bed. Don't worry about it. Wake up in the morning, just take it right off. I don't have to unplug anything. I don't have to worry about nothing, fast charging overnight and all that. It charges nice and slow. By the time I wake up in the morning, it's fully charged. Love that. Also, I love the fact that this has reverse wireless charging. So I could put another phone on the back of this, or I could put my watch on the back of it, or some headbuds, some earbuds, and I could get charged and I could charge those items. I love that. I want reverse wireless charging, and reverse wireless charging is something that should be on all flagships. Next, the battery. Now, this phone comes with a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, and I'm telling y'all, I end most of my days, and I'm talking after a 17-hour. Now I say after a 15-hour day. 15-hour day, I'm ending the day with 50% battery, and that's with about 4.5 to 5 hours of screen on time. So I haven't babied this phone at all. I'm a moderate to heavy user, but this thing gets great battery life. It's not, I can't say it's 2 days, but you can easily get into the next day with this device, no problem. Okay, no problem. Even on the days when I'm watching a lot of content and it really heats up, because this device has a tendency to heat up if you use it a really long time, honestly. But it'll eventually cool itself down. But it can get uncomfortably warm for some people. It just depends on who you are. But the battery life on this phone, I have no issues with it. Easily, I can get into the next day. And like I said, I end most days with 50% battery. Next, I love the fact that it's IP68 water and dust resistance. So that's something I don't have to worry about. Now, the next thing is my favorite thing about this device, the display. The 6.5-inch QHD OLED display with 120 hertz and 643 pixel density. This display is just unbelievable. It is so beautiful, it's bright, it's crisp, it's sharp, it's clear, it's colorful. Oh, this is my favorite part about this device, period, is the display. It's a 4K display. Now, some people may say that's overkill, you don't need that. But look, I'll take it. And the thing about it, I'm using this thing with the always on display, QHD, 120 hertz, and 100% brightness. And I'm still ending the day with 50% battery. So the 4K display has really no bearing on the battery, even though I'm maxing this screen out at 4K and 100% brightness. And I'm still ending the day with 50% battery. And that's about 4 to 4.5 hours of screen on time. So that's impressive. So that's why I said what I said about the battery and the fact that you can get that kind of battery life using a 4K display. Hats off to Sony. That's impressive. Okay. So this is by far my favorite part of this device. And also the speakers. The speakers really surprised me. I didn't expect them to be this good, but they're really impressive. Next is the performance. Now I'm currently using Nova Launcher because they were using something was like more like a pixel launcher, where you got the the Google bar where you can't move it, and you got that widget, that weather widget that you can't move. I'm like, nah, we ain't doing that. So I went the Nova Launcher. That way I can have everything set up the way I want. I don't need the Google feed. I don't care about that. I just want to be able to have everything set up the way that I want, period. And this is the way I want it. But when it comes to performance, I'm telling you right now, this device performs well. There may be a slight delay when I'm going back to the home screen sometimes when I'm using Nova Launcher. But with this device, it's really not doing that. When I swipe up and go back to home, it goes back to home immediately. So when I'm scrolling like this, everything is nice and smooth, as you can see, and very, very, very fast. So performance on this device has been great. You're not going to have any issues when it comes to performance. None whatsoever. I'm telling you, it's just that good. You see how fast everything is opening up and going right back to the home page. So performance on this device is really, really great. No issues at all when it comes to performance. Now, because keep in mind, you're using the Snapdragon 8 Generation 1. All right. So you got a flagship processor in this device. Now, this other thing I'm going to mention, because this thing doesn't have a lot of customization and features and gimmicks, or if you want to call them gimmicks to them, it doesn't have that, but it does have this side sense. This little tab here, you double tap it and you get this thing right here, which I kind of like this. You can see it. Now down here, you can use these for like little windows. See, if I press YouTube, I get this little window, which I probably wouldn't do because I don't like little windows. But you double tap it again. Up here, you get the whole thing. So if I press YouTube up here, the whole YouTube is going to come up. And that's kind of cool. I like that. I like that. These little shortcuts. But they have it, see where it says main and pop up? So that's for this one. But then you have multi-window. So you click multi-window. And what you could do, you got these that are already pre-done, but you can do your own. So say I want to do YouTube. It tells you if you want top or bottom. So if I do YouTube and say I do, let me see, trying to see through this thing. Say I do maps, automatically comes up and goes into my multitasking. I like that. I really like that. That's really cool. That's cool. So I like that side sense. I haven't really used it much because I tend to forget that it's there, but it's cool for those of you that might be interested in this device. Now, when it comes to the camera, let me be honest. I'm not a huge camera guy. I'm a point and shoot type of, user. These cameras are nice. Now, for point and shoot, these cameras are pretty good. Now, for point and shoot, I have other cameras that are better. I have other phones that got better cameras. But let me say this. If you're the type of person that want to go in here and want to tweak and touch and, change everything, this is the phone that you want, because this phone not only has this interface in here, but you see I have it on basic because that's who I am. I'm a basic type of guy. But if you want to change stuff, you got auto, you got all these different things here you can change. Look at all this stuff. Look at all this stuff. I don't know nothing about this stuff. I'm not into cameras like that. So all I'm going to say, when you see these photos and videos, keep in mind I'm using basic mode. And also there's another camera app in here. So you got that camera app and you got another camera app in here that says you got Cinema Pro, and then you got another one that says Pro something. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Let me see. Because I know you got that cinema mode. Oh, see? Photo Pro. So you got Photo Pro down here, which is another camera app. And then when you go up here, you got cinema photos, or cinema photos. So this thing is really all about the cameras, but keep in mind the photos and the videos you will see is just from me point and shoot. I didn't touch nothing because I don't know nothing about that stuff. I'm a point and shoot type of guy. I like the fact that it has all that stuff, especially if you want to charge $1,600. But that's not the kind of guy I am. I'm not going to get heavily into the cameras because, like I said, I didn't buy this device for the cameras. I bought this device because of all the things that come with it, like, headphone jack, expandable storage, LED notification sensor, all of those things. You're getting the whole flagship experience on this device. But check out these photos and videos, but keep in mind, they're just point and shoot. There's other channels I'm sure that, that's way, way more into cameras than I am, and they'll probably did a lot of tweaking. But it's nice to know if you're heavily into cameras or if you're a content creator, this might be the phone for you because, like I said, you can tweak and change everything and anything. But check out these photos and videos, and y'all let me know down in the comments what y'all think. right, so let me get into the things that I don't like. First thing is the overheating. This device not overheat to the point where it starts having issues with its performance. Never had an issue with its performance, even when it got hot or very, very warm. I shouldn't say hot, I say very, very warm. But it's just unfortunate that it does that. That might turn some people off. You got your phone in your hand and you're on YouTube watching a really long video, and all of a sudden you feel the thing starts, heating up in your you're not gonna you might not like that. Okay. Now if you got a case, it's more tolerable, but without a case, I don't know how tolerable it would be for you. But that's that's the number one thing that I don't like about this device, that it overheats. Next, this device was overpriced. Now I still think it's still a little high, but considering all the stuff you're getting with it, I can understand it, it's around 700 now. I got it for a little less than that, but it's like $699 right now, which is not horrible. I mean, for all the stuff you're getting. But I'm saying when it was first released, $1,600, seriously overpriced, no question about it. Next, I don't like the presentation. It just came with a box. That's it. Now, because I got it from Amazon, they actually sent me a charging cable and a wireless charging, little not a stand, but a pad, but no charging brick. But Sony don't give you anything in the box, like literally nothing. I only got it, that charger. I mean, not the charger, but the charging cable. I got it from Amazon. But they literally don't give you a charging cable, a charger, a case, nothing except the phone in the box. So the presentation for this device absolutely sucks. It's absolute trash. Next, there's no face unlock on this device, which I don't understand. This thing has everything, but you can't give me face unlock and you got a front facing camera. I never understand any manufacturer that has a front facing camera but won't give you face unlock. It makes no sense. Google did the same thing with the Pixel 6 Pro, no face unlock. LG, the LG V60, no face unlock. This, no face unlock. I don't understand that. That makes no sense, especially for a flagship device. And all those devices I named were all flagship devices. Inexcusable. Next, no in-display fingerprint sensor. Now, I know I just not too long ago said that the side-mounted fingerprint sensor works very, very well. It does. But I just don't like side-mounted fingerprint sensors. And I really feel and believe that a flagship device should have an in-display ultrasonic fingerprint sensor. So I don't like side-mounted fingerprint sensors. So that's something that I just don't like. Next, this device does not have an IR blaster. $1,600. It should have everything. And I know some of you out there don't care about stuff like that, but I do, especially if you're going to be paying that type of money. IR blaster is not that hard. It's like a little teeny thing you put inside the phone. They could have easily put that in this phone. Next, no hi-fi quad DAC. Now, the 24-bit audio, high res or whatever on here is weak. It's really weak. It's very disappointing. I was very disappointed when I plugged in some good quality headphones and the sound was mediocre. I mean, for me, maybe for you it sound great, but for me, the sound was mediocre, honestly. Okay, they just was. So for something that cost this much, it should have had a hi-fi quad DAC in it, or at least a hi-fi DAC. Doesn't have to be a quad DAC, but a hi-fi DAC, at least equivalent to that what Samsung has in their devices, especially like I said for that price. So what's in there now is just mediocre. Next, the slow battery charging speeds, 30-watt wired charging. That's too slow for a device that costs this much money. It's just too slow. The wireless 15 watts, that's too slow. For a device that's starting at $1,600, both of those speeds are unacceptable and too slow. Next, the always on display, it's customizable, but it's very limited. Let me see if I could get right to it so I can show y'all what I mean by that. Let me see. Operation and view. Yeah, here it is right here. Ambient display, always on display. So you see clocks here. This is it. This is all you get far as customization. That's it. And that's disappointing. For a phone that's costing this much, should be way more customizable for your always on display. Now, I do want to show y'all something that I really do like that this phone does. Let me see. All right, let me go to a video. Let me turn the volume down on no issues. All right, turn this on. All right, now I'm going to stop it. I'm going to come back to my home screen. And I'm going to turn it off. Well, I don't know why it came back on. Now you see that? I like that. And it stays like that. It doesn't like eventually fade away like my other phones. No, it stays like this. So you know exactly what you were watching on YouTube. I like that. I really like that a lot. And it doesn't really do anything to the battery life. So I wish other phones would do this, would, you know, give you a clear thing of what you're watching on YouTube, and then you could just go right back to it. That's cool. I like that a lot. All right. And let me see the last two more things I don't like. Last thing is the narrow display. Now, this is something you actually can get used to, honestly. I mean, you really can. You could adjust to it. But it's sometimes, you know, when you're dealing with a regular phone like this, and then you compare it to this, it's like, wow, it's like, you know, like night and day. But some people are gonna like this because it makes everything easily reachable, you know, as opposed to something this wide. Now, it's funny, I don't really have really big, large hands, but I always love big, giant displays. I just love that, especially when I'm watching content. I want as much real estate as possible. But this is something you definitely can get used to. And like I said, if you're somebody that don't want a phone that is this wide, you're gonna be fine with a device that is this narrow. You're not gonna have a problem. That's like the people that likes the older, they like Samsung Folds, the skinny, you know, that skinny front display. I can't stand that thing. That's why I bought me a Vivo X Fold X Fold 3, because I didn't want a narrow front. I wanted something that was more closer to a regular candy bar style phone. But I'm not speaking for everybody out there. Some people are going to love a device that's this narrow because everything is easily reachable. So that's my last dislike when it comes to this device. Other than that, I really like this device a lot. I do recommend it for those of you that may be like I said, that are heavily into the camera, or you're somebody that's not only heavily into the camera, but you're loving the fact that it has expandable storage, a headphone jack, wireless charging, reverse wireless charging, LED notification sensor, front facing speakers. I mean, excellent build quality, a 4K display. You're basically getting everything and anything on this device, like I said, except no face unlock, you know, no quad DAC, no IR blaster, and probably most of you don't even care about that. And I wish the always on display was a little bit more customizable. But other than those things, this is an excellent device. Like I said, I definitely can recommend this to anyone that's, you know, in the Sony devices. But don't ever pay $1,600 for no Sony device. I mean, you shouldn't pay that for no device unless they literally giving you everything, or you just wait till that price drop way down like it did for this one, and you get it for like $600-700. You know, if you have it, then that's acceptable. But this is a awesome device. The battery life is great. The speakers are great. The display is great. You know, I really like it a lot. The cameras, like I said, they're probably a lot better than what you've seen on those photos. But keep in mind, I'm only point and shoot. I didn't touch and change anything because I'm just not into cameras like that. But that's my full review for the Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to view this content. I do appreciate it. I hope everybody out there staying safe and staying well, and I'll check you guys out in the next one. Peace.